Hi everyone, welcome to the series on Tosca Snap. In this video, we will explore the topic what is accessibility testing and how Tosca supports web accessibility testing. So first understand what is web accessibility testing. Accessibility means if you take a web application, it should ensure inclusivity, meaning it should have the features and contents which will make all the users comfortable, even those users who rely on the access to technologies like screen readers, screen magnifiers, or keyboard navigation should be comfortable for any users. What this means? This means it should ensure all the users, even those people with disability, should be able to access the web page easily. And nowadays it becomes a legal standard as well for any web application to be in compliance with this WCAG rules and guidelines. So what is WCAG? Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. It is developed by W3C, Worldwide Web Consortium. This is the accessibility standard and guidelines which any web application should be in compliance with. And according to WCAG, there are three levels. One is the level A, which ensures basic accessibility is provided in the website. The second level is double A, mid-level. Most of the legal standards requires this. And triple A, which is the highest level, and it is not possible for all the web HTML content to be in compliance with the triple A level. So usually double A is what expected by the legal standards, and within Tosca we are supporting the accessibility testing with respect to WCAG level A and WCAG AA rule sets. So what kind of testing are generally done in accessibility testing? The first thing is keyboard navigation. When you take a web application, there will be a lot of forms, inputs, buttons, every element in the web page. The user should be able to access all these features using only the keyboard, like the tab or enter or escape keys. And labels and the form inputs. Whatever the form inputs or the images you have, there should be a right as description or the label or the description given to those elements in the HTML tag, so that when we are using the screen reader, user should not face any issue in accessing all those elements via the screen reader. And are we using the right ARIA roles or landmarks in case of the dynamic HTML content? So what is ARIA? An accessible rich internet application. This is a feature which supports the accessibility. The next thing is color, contrast, and image size. For everything, there is a standard set by the WCAG rule. So for when you take an image, there is this size, minimum size or the maximum size that is recommended, so that those with the visually impaired also will be able to access the application without any issue. And then we'll be testing on the semantic HTML tags. So every HTML element, are they embedded within the right tags? Are they landmarked within the right HTML tag? That is what we'll be testing under the semantic HTML tags. So these are the different testings which are basically performed when it comes to the accessibility. And if you have a video or audio, then we'll be testing on whether the transcripts or the subtitles, whatever is there, is it readable, is it properly embedded, all those things will be tested. So when it comes to Tosca, does Tosca support web accessibility testing? Yes, Tosca supports web accessibility testing with check Webpage accessibility standard module and a TCP parameter called RunAccessibilityAnalysis. And it is in compliance with WCAG 2.2 rule sets. So it is using a DQ Access Core library, which is an external open source JavaScript library for conducting the web accessibility testing. And key things to note when it comes to the accessibility testing using Tosca, it supports only with the modules created using HTML as engine, and it can be used for all browsers except Internet Explorer and Internet Explorer and Edge. And the test case should be executed from execution section so that you can generate the accessibility report. And as I said, it is in compliance with WCAG 2.2 level A and level AA rule sets. Tosca supports three types of accessibility tests. The first thing is testing on a specified web page. For this, we will be having the Run Accessibility Analysis TCP parameter as specified web page, and we'll be using a standard module called Check Web Page Accessibility. So this will allow us to check the accessibility on a particular page. And then after inputs, when you have the Run Accessibility Analysis TCP value as after inputs, it will do the analysis on every step where you have the action mode as input, and the action is performed. After that, it will test it. Before inputs, the same way it will conduct the analysis, but before performing the action mode input. So these are the three types of accessibility test which you can do it with Tosca. Let's see practically how all this works. So I have a scenario here where I'm going to the demo webshop TriCensus URL, accessing the login page, entering the username, password, and performing the login and perform logout. This is the scenario. The first thing I'm going to do is run accessibility analysis after inputs. So I have added the TCP run accessibility analysis with value as after inputs. Let's try to run this test case and then check the output. So it launches the application, clicks on login, perform login, and then do the logout. So execution is done. If we go to the execution result, you can see accessibility features, 5 critical, 54 serious, and 71 moderate issues are identified. If you want to see what are these issues in detail, we need to go to the execution list, right click, and click on Export Accessibility Report. So here you have the option to include what all details in the accessibility report. So if you choose WCAG A, then it will show only the issues related to the rule set A. If you are choosing WCAG AA, then it will show all the issues related to WCAG AA. And if you are choosing this custom option and then selecting all, then it will show you all the issues that are identified. So I'm going to use this option and click on export. So let me rename it as test report here. So in the accessibility report, which we just extracted, we can see what is the overall conformance level. So 1112 are passed, there are 130 failures that are observed, and then the number of accessibility issues based on the category, it is mentioned over here, and then severity based categorization, critical, serious, moderate, and then issues per accessibility criteria, WCAG A, AA, and then other criteria. So on all these levels, we can see the issue categorization here in the overview section. And when you come down, you can see in detail what are the issues that are observed in the application. So let's take some issue details from here and then explore what it is. So the first issue what I have mentioned here is, it is given some class name over here, and that class name is having an image element which is not having an alternative text. Let's go to the application now. And search for the image. with the same class name. So if we try to hover over that element, you can see this particular image, whatever we are seeing in the center of the page, it is referring to that image, and that image is not having an alt text over here describing about what is the image. And that is what this error is saying. So you have a control with the class name, new main image, and this is having a critical issue. What is the issue? If this image element is not having an alternative text or a role of none or presentation, you'll see what all these things and what are the suggestions given over here. So the solution what they have suggested is you can add an alt attribute over here describing about the image, or you can go and add a area label or area labeled by attribute, or you can have the role as none or presentation. Let's see in detail what all these things refers to. So if you're taking an image element, in order for the image element to be in compliance with WCAG rule set, it should have a proper or meaningful name so that when a screen reader is used by any of the users to access the web page, they should be able to, the screen reader should be able to read and then identify the control for the user. So if you see the example over here, the first example, it shows an image and it has an alt description which says that it is a Tricentis demo webshop shopping cart icon. So like this, there should be a descriptive detail added to the image tab. And if it is a decorative image which is not having any critical purpose on the web page, then you can add an attribute called role and then mention it as presentation or none. And in addition to the alt attribute, we can also use title attribute, and within the title attribute, we can give the detailed description about the image. And if you're not using an image tab, and if you're using any custom element or div or SVG, then you can go for using area label or area labeled by attribute. So these are the standards or the best practices recommended for an image element. And that's what mentioned as a solution also here. So when you come to the report issue details, this is how it gets displayed. What is the control and what kind of impact it is having? Is it a critical or a serious or moderate or a minor impact? And it provides a summary like what is the issue, and it also suggests a solution for that particular issue. So let's take the next thing, newsletter email. This is the label again, and this label is not having a this is an element which is not having a label added to it. So let's see where this control is in the application. This newsletter email. So you can see here, it is the input field, and the input field is not having a label added to it. That is what it is referring to. So the best recommendation is when you're having a form input, and description should be added to it or a label should be added to it describing what is that particular input form. So let's see in detail about the label fixing thing. You can have an explicit label tag added to it. Like you are seeing in the first example, a label tag is added for the email address and it is attached to the input tag. Or you can have an implicit label wrapping around the input tag. Like you can start the label tag, put the input tag inside the label and then enclose it. So this is the way of declaring an implicit label. And you can also go for ARIA labels, and ARIA label or ARIA labeled by can be used for any custom labels. And you can also use placeholder. So these are some of the descriptive attributes which can be used so that the screen readers will be able to identify all the form inputs easily. So this is another issue which was given, which is saying ensure all page content is contained by landmark. So when it comes to the HTML tags, all the page content should be contained within the landmark. What this means, if you are having a top level options, like the logo, the site name, or the global navigation menus, all this should come under the header tag. And then the main menus and links for the pages, whatever you have, it should come under the NAV navigation HTML tag. And there should be one main tab for each page, and that should have all the HTML contents which is coming per page. And then when it comes to footer, sorry, it's a spelling error. It is a footer. So when it comes to the footer tab, you will have all the copyright, contacts, or the social media links enclosed within the footer tag. So this is how you will be enclosing all the elements within the particular HTML tag, and this is the recommended rule by WCAG. And this is what this error means. So there were elements which were not enclosed within the particular landmarks. So we have seen some of the errors which were reported as part of the accessibility testing done by the Tosca. And let's go back to Tosca now. So we have done the testing using after inputs, and if you change it to before inputs, it will do the analysis before doing the action of input. That's the difference of after inputs and before inputs. And when it comes to specified page, the run accessibility analysis value will be given as specified page. So this will do the accessibility testing for a particular page. Earlier, whatever we have seen, the run accessibility analysis using after inputs or before inputs, it conducts the analysis throughout your test case execution wherever you have the action mode as input. And when it comes to specified web page, you will be conducting the accessibility testing only for the specified page using the standard module called check web page accessibility. So let's jump to the module and find it where it is. So it is coming under HTML engine. Standard module, engine, HTML. Under that you are having the check web page accessibility module. And this is the module which will be using it when you are using the run accessibility analysis value as specified web page. So what is there in the module? In check web page accessibility, you will be having the search criteria. So you have to specify the title of the web application which you want to test it, and then URL of the web page. And if you want, you can specify the index, window index 1 or 2, whatever it is required. It is an optional field. So you have to add this module wherever you want to conduct the web page accessibility testing for any specific page. So I have added it before the login step. Like once the page got loaded, this will be conducting the testing. Let's run this test case and see the output. So it is the same flow. It will perform the login, check for the accounting and log out. Execution is done. And if you see, it is showing for the latest log, it is showing the critical issue as 3 and serious as 35 and moderate as 44. Now you can see that the issue list is limited because it is testing only for the one page. That's why you are seeing the lesser issue details here. So this is how you can conduct the accessibility testing for a specified web page or for the whole regression test using the parameters called run accessibility, before inputs and after inputs. And in order to improve the performance, you can use accessibility fast mode TCP, which has different values like ignore fast checks, disable redundant checks, and optimize analysis, or you can off it as well. So if you want to increase the performance and then limit the accessibility testing analysis, you can use this TCP parameter. So what ignored past check means? Let's go back to the report. I have some of the sample report here. So this is executed without adding any accessibility fast mode. This is tested. So here if you see, it is showing 1112 fast here. And this is the report which is extracted with the accessibility fast mode value as ignore past checks. So if you see, the past count is not given over here because it ignores all the past checks. It focuses only on the failure analysis. So that way it will reduce the analysis time and then increase the speed of the execution. And when you use disable redundant checks, if you have multiple HTML elements, the similar elements will be ignored. It will be focusing only on the modified elements. And optimized analysis is a combination of both ignored past checks and disabled redundant checks. So this is the parameter, this is a TCP parameter which you can use to increase the performance during the web accessibility testing. With this, we came to the end of the session. Thanks for watching.